Chapter 1. The Voicemail September 23, 2030, 22:10. I was in my office at Willow Creek Community College, grading papers on Puritan poetry, when my phone buzzed against the desk. It was my sister, Clara, calling from our family's old farmstead outside town. I let it ring out, too tired to deal with family drama after a long day. Clara was 28, a librarian at the Willow Creek Historical Society, always digging into some dusty archive. She called again 10 minutes later, then a third time. I sighed, promising myself I'd call her back after finishing the last essay. When I left the building, the Maine night was sharp with autumn chill, the air smelling of pine and damp leaves. I checked my phone, 3 voicemails. The first was Clara, her voice bright but rushed. "Hey, Lucas, can you come by the farm this weekend? Found something in the archives you'd love. Call me." My chest warmed. She knew my weakness for old books. The second was quieter, her words clipped. "Lucas, it's serious. Something's wrong with the farm. I need you here. Please." My pulse quickened. The third was just her breathing, shallow, panicked, for 23 seconds. Then a low, wet sound, like something tearing, and the line cut off. I called back. No answer. September 23rd, 2030, 22:45. I drove to Clara's apartment, a small rental near the Historical Society. The door was ajar, her keys on the counter, but she wasn't there. Her laptop was open, displaying a scanned map of our family's land, marked with strange symbols. I called the police, who said to file a missing persons report in 24 hours. By 1 a.m., they called back. Clara's car was found off Route 9, crumpled against a boulder. No skid marks, no witnesses. Just her body, pale and bruised, dead at the scene. The coroner called it an accident, loss of control, maybe fatigue. But Clara was careful, always buckled up, never reckless. Something was wrong. Chapter 2. The Archive September 25, 2030, 10:05. Clara's funeral was small. Willow Creek is a quiet town, and she kept to herself, buried in her books. A few co-workers from the Historical Society came, along with our cousin, Nate. Pastor Evelyn Reed, a soft-spoken woman with gray curls, spoke of Clara's curiosity and kindness. After the service, she pulled me aside. "Clara was researching something odd at the society," she said. "Old maps, tied to your family's land. She said you'd understand, being a historian." I pressed for details, but Evelyn only shook her head. She was scared, Lucas. Said the maps weren't just history. That night, I couldn't sleep, Clara's voicemails looping in my head. I drove to the Historical Society, a stone building by the town square. I'd worked there years ago, cataloging colonial records. My old access card still worked, and the night janitor waved me in without a second glance. September 25th, 2030, 23:30. The Society's basement archives smelled of dust and old leather. Clara's desk was a mess of papers, a chipped mug with her initials still holding cold tea. Under a stack of folders, I found a notebook filled with her neat handwriting. She'd been studying maps from the 1820s, drawn by a settler group called the Order of the Veil. They weren't of towns or rivers, but of something called the Hollow, a network of tunnels beneath Willow Creek, marked with symbols I didn't recognize. One map, on yellowed parchment, showed our family's farm, with a note in Clara's hand. "The Hollow's heart is here. It's alive." Chapter 3. The Farm September 26, 2030, 01:45. I drove to the farm, an hour outside Willow Creek, where Clara and I grew up. The house was boarded up, abandoned since our parents died in a fire when I was 20. Clara had been visiting it lately, claiming she was sorting family history. The fields were overgrown, the barn's roof sagging. I found the map's coordinates, a patch of marshy ground near the old oak grove that in the moonlight. The marsh pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat under the moss. I remembered a childhood nightmare, chasing a stray cat into the marsh, watching it slip into a fleshy, veined pit that closed over it like a mouth. I'd run home screaming, but our father, Amos, called it a bad dream, his voice sharp with dismissal that I found a trapdoor under the moss, its edges carved with the same symbols from Clara's map. It wasn't locked, just heavy, the wood slick with damp. September 26th, 2030, 03:20. The trapdoor opened to a stone staircase, spiraling into darkness. My flashlight caught glints of wet rock, the air thick with a coppery smell. I descended, counting 150 steps, until I reached a cavern. Clara's map called it the Veil, the gateway to the hollow. 5 tunnels branched off, one labeled the Path of Regret. Her notes marked it as the least dangerous, leading to a place where lost souls lingered. That I checked my bag, flashlight, water, a pocket knife, and Clara's notebook. I took the Path of Regret, the tunnel narrow and cold, my footsteps echoing like whispers. Chapter 4. The Path of Regret, September 26, 2030, 04:55. The tunnel opened into a chamber lit by a sickly green glow, like rotting wood. 3 figures stood there, their forms thin and translucent, eyes like dark pits. A living man, one whispered, her voice brittle as dry leaves. She was Esther, a mill worker who died in 1835. The others were Jonah, a sailor lost in 1890, and Ruth, a schoolteacher from 1942. They'd been trapped here, replaying their regrets for centuries. "Have you seen my sister, Clara?" I asked. Esther's head tilted. "She came through, weeks ago. She sought the heart of the hollow, deeper down." I showed them Clara's photo. Jonah nodded. "She was kind, gave me hope, but the keeper holds her now." September 26, 2030, 06:30. The tunnel to the heart was warmer, the air heavy with a sweet, rotting stench. The walls were carved with faces, their mouths open in silent screams. Clara's map guided me, though my compass spun uselessly. After hours, the tunnel opened to a vast pit, its floor covered in dark, viscous liquid. A rope bridge, frayed but recent, stretched across. Clara's work. I crossed, my flashlight catching glints of something alive in the liquid below. At the center was a stone altar, pulsing faintly, and beside it, Clara's backpack, torn open, papers scattered. Chapter 5. The Heart of the Hollow, September 26, 2030, 08:10. Clara's notebook was inside the backpack, its pages stained with the dark liquid. She'd been researching the hollow for months, tracing its history to our family. The Order of the Veil believed it was a living entity, feeding on blood to sustain the land above. Clara's last entry, dated the night she died, read, "The heart demands sacrifice." Found proof. Mom and Dad didn't die in a fire. I'm going in to find them. My stomach dropped. Our parents' death was ruled accidental, a gas leak sparking in the barn. But Clara's words shook me. I found a voice memo on her phone, recorded hours before her crash. "Lucas, if you hear this, I'm gone. The hollow's real, under the farm. Mom and Dad are here, trapped. Someone at the society knows, someone's watching me. Check my storage locker, Unit 23, Willow Creek Storage. Keys in my desk." September 26, 2030, 09:45. I drove back to town at dawn, the memo playing on repeat. At the Historical Society, I found the key taped under Clara's desk. Unit 23 held her gear, ropes, a lantern, a journal filled with sketches of the hollow's tunnels. She'd planned a rescue, believing our parents were alive in the hollow. I loaded the gear and returned to the farm, descending again, the weight of her mission heavy on my shoulders. Chapter 6. The Depths, September 27, 2030, 05:20. The heart of the hollow was unchanged, the altar's pulse stronger now. I set up Clara's ropes, descending into a deeper chamber where the air felt alive, pressing against my skin. The walls were fleshy, veined, moving slightly, like breathing. I found a city of sorts, structures of bone and sinew, glowing faintly. Shadows moved, souls trapped in endless loops of sorrow. I called for Clara. A figure emerged, flickering like a dying flame. It was our mother, Abigail, her face pale but recognizable. "Lucas," she whispered. "Clara came for us." The keeper took her to the sanctum. September 27th, 2030, 07:15. The sanctum was a tower of twisted flesh, its surface slick and warm. Clara's notes described it as the hollow's core, where the keeper bound souls to feed the land. 2 guardians, humanoid but woven from vines and bone, blocked the entrance. "Living man," one growled. "What do you offer?" "My sister, Clara. My parents, Abigail and Thomas. 5 years of your life," it said. 3, I countered. 4. I agreed. feeling a chill settle in my bones. Inside, the sanctum was a maze of pulsing corridors, each holding a soul trapped in their worst memories. I climbed, finding Clara in a cell, her eyes half dark, like oil spreading. Chapter 7. The Keeper, September 27, 2030, 09:00. Clara looked at me, her voice weak. "Lucas, you shouldn't be here. I'm getting you out." She shook her head. "I killed someone. Dr. Ellis, my mentor. He tried to stop me. The hollow made me." I remembered her crash, the lack of skid marks. It wasn't an accident. She'd been driven to it. I climbed to the sanctum's peak, where the keeper waited, a mass of writhing tendrils, its eyes glowing like embers. "Your sister killed to protect the hollow," it said, its voice a low hum. "She's mine. She acted to save our parents." It offered a deal: fight it, win, and they're free. Lose, and I stay. It handed me a blade of bone, sharp and cold. I gripped it, my academic life useless here, driven only by love for Clara. Chapter 8. The Fight, September 27, 2030, 09:40. The keeper moved like liquid, its tendrils slicing the air. I dodged, the bone blade heavy in my hand. I'd fenced in college, a hobby, but this was raw, desperate. Its strikes burned, leaving welts on my arms. "You're nothing," it hissed. I thought of Clara's voicemails, her fear, her hope. I swung, cutting a tendril. Black ichor sprayed, and it screamed. I pressed forward, slashing its core. It collapsed, dropping a key of twisted sinew. I freed Clara, then found our parents in nearby cells, frail but alive. We fled, the sanctum's wails echoing behind us. Chapter 9. The Return, September 27, 2030, 11:50. We reached the Vale, Esther, Jonah, and Ruth waiting. "You saved them," Esther said. "Tell our stories." The ascent drained me, the keeper's bargain taking 4 years of my life. My hair grayed, my steps slowed. Clara and our parents supported me, their warmth grounding me. We emerged in the marsh as dawn broke, the trapdoor sealing behind us. Clara was quiet, haunted by Dr. Ellis's death. Our parents, aged beyond their years, barely spoke at home. I aged overnight, my face lined like a man decades older. Clara recovered slowly, her memories of the hollow fading. Our parents stayed in a motel, too frail to return to the farm. September 28, 2030, 15:00. A man visited us, Dr. Samuel Holt, director of the Historical Society. He carried a folder of photos, maps, the trapdoor, the heart of the hollow. "We've watched the hollow for decades," he said. "Clara's research exposed it. Ellis tried to stop her. You let her die," I said. "We needed proof the hollow could be navigated. You succeeded." He offered us a role: monitor the hollow, rescue others trapped inside. The knowledge was spreading, weakening the barriers. We agreed, trained for weeks, and began missions, saving lost hikers, researchers, even a child. Some returned. Others were lost forever. Chapter 10. The Binding, May 5, 2031, 07:30. A year later, the hollow grew unstable, its pulses shaking the farm. Holt showed us a 19th century ritual, the binding veil, to seal the 5 entrances forever. It required relics, objects tied to the order of the veil, and guardians to maintain the seals. Clara and I volunteered for Willow Creek's entrance. On a foggy May morning, we stood by the trapdoor, holding relics that vibrated with power. We chanted words from an old journal, and the trapdoor's darkness solidified, locking the hollow away. That we live in a cabin near the farm now, equipped with monitors and books. We check the seal daily, report to Holt, and watch the marsh for signs of disturbance. I think of Esther, Jonah, Ruth, trapped in the hollow's depths. But Willow Creek is safe. Clara says it's enough. I nod, watching her sketch maps, knowing we've paid a price to keep the world whole. Conclusion, May 6, 2031, 05:45. The cabin smells of pine and coffee, the kind of instant sludge Clara and I brew to stay awake through the night shifts. The binding veil holds, its hum a constant undercurrent in the walls, like a heartbeat we've learned to ignore. We're a mile from the old farm, in a cedar plank cabin the Historical Society built for us, tucked against the edge of Willow Creek's marshlands. The trapdoor is gone, replaced by a concrete slab etched with symbols from the Order of the Veil. but I feel the hollow's presence still, a faint pulse under the earth, like a beast dreaming that Clara's asleep on the couch. Her sketchbook open to a half-finished map of nowhere, lines and curves that don't match any real place. She draws to cope, she says, to keep the hollow's images from crowding her dreams. I'm at the desk, surrounded by monitors showing readouts from the seal, resonance levels, seismic activity, temperature fluctuations. Everything's steady, but I check anyway, every hour, like a ritual to keep the world from cracking open. My reflection in the screen shows a man who's aged a decade in a year. Gray hair at my temples, lines carved deep around my eyes. The 4 years I gave the keeper weigh on me, a debt I feel in my bones. Clara stirs, muttering something about the sanctum. Her nightmares haven't stopped, though she won't admit how bad they are. She killed Dr. Ellis under the hollow's influence, and the guilt clings to her like damp moss. Our parents, Abigail and Thomas, are in a care home in Bangor, their minds frayed from years in the hollow. They barely speak, their eyes distant, as if they're still trapped in those fleshy corridors. I visit when I can, but it's hard seeing them like that, shells of the people who raised us. May 6, 2031, 07:20. Dr. Samuel Holt arrives at dawn, his coat dusted with mist from the marsh. He's in his 60s, lean and sharp, with eyes that see too much. He sets his briefcase on the table, pulling out reports on the other 4 entrances. Boston's stable, he says, spreading out charts. New Orleans reports minor tremors, but their seal holds. Chicago and Seattle are quiet, for now. I nod, pouring him coffee. The other guardians, people we've never met, only heard through Holt's updates, feel like ghosts. There's Dr. Helen Morse in Boston, a folklorist who sounds as tired as I feel. Father Michael Ruiz in New Orleans, who prays over his seal like it's a shrine. And a retired cop, Jane Keller, in Seattle. Chicago's guardian, a historian named Isaac Cole, sends terse reports, like he's angry at the world. Any breaches? Clara asks, joining us, her voice rough from sleep. Holt hesitates. Not breaches, but disturbances. Hikers in Seattle heard whispers near their entrance. In Chicago, a grad student tried to dig up their seal. We stopped him, but the knowledge is spreading, online forums, academic papers. The hollow's calling, even sealed. I think of Clara's maps, the way she traced the hollow's tunnels from memory. What happens if it wakes up? I asked at Holt's jaw tightens. We don't know. The binding veil was a theory until you made it real. But it's not perfect. The hollow's alive, Lucas. It doesn't sleep forever. May 6, 2031, 09:15. After Holt leaves, Clara and I walk the marsh, checking the perimeter sensors. The air smells of mud and decay, the oak grove looming in the fog. I remember chasing that cat as a kid, the way the pit swallowed it whole. Clara stops by the concrete slab, her fingers tracing the symbols. Do you think they're still down there? She asks. Esther, Jonah, Ruth? Every night, I say. Their faces haunt me. Esther's brittle hope, Jonah's quiet regret, Ruth's endless apologies. We saved our family, but left them behind, trapped in the hollow's endless loops. Clara kicks a stone into the marsh. We should have tried harder, found a way to free them. We did what we could, I say, but the words feel thin. The hollow took 4 years of my life, part of Clara's soul, and our parents' sanity. It's still taking, even sealed. May 8, 2031, 03:40. I wake to Clara screaming, her voice raw, like she's fighting something in her sleep. I shake her awake, and she gasps, eyes wide with panic. It was the sanctum, she says, clutching her sketchbook. The keeper was back, calling me. I make her tea, the cabin's silence heavy around us. The monitors are steady, but I feel a tremor in the air, a faint vibration that wasn't there yesterday. I check the seal, reciting the order's chant. The symbols glow briefly, then fade. It holds, but I can't shake the feeling that something's stirring, something we didn't kill. Clara sketches furiously, her pencil scratching out a map of the sanctum's corridors. It's still in my head, she says. The hollow's not gone. It's waiting. May 10th, 2031, 11:00. Holt calls with news. A disturbance in New Orleans. Father Ruiz reported a spike in resonance, like the hollow's pushing against the seal. He's sending a specialist, Dr. Emily Voss, a geophysicist who studies dimensional anomalies. She arrives that afternoon, a wiry woman with a clipboard and a nervous laugh. She sets up new sensors around the slab, their screens flashing with data I don't understand. The hollow's not just a place, Voss says, calibrating a device. It's a system, like an organism. The binding veil cut it off, but it's adapting, finding ways to reach out. Clara frowns. Reach out how? Dreams, mostly. Voices. It's why you're having nightmares. It's targeting guardians, trying to weaken you. I think of my own dreams, the pit, the cat, the wet sucking sound as it vanished. Can we stop it? I ask. Voss shrugs. Maybe. There's an old ritual, the veil's end, in the Order's journals. It could destroy the hollow completely, but it's risky. The backlash could collapse the seals, maybe worse. May 12, 2031, 06:30. Clara's obsessed with the veil's end. She digs through her notebooks, cross-referencing Order texts Holt sent us. The ritual requires relics, one for each entrance, plus a fifth, the Shard of Dawn, held by Father Ruiz in New Orleans. It's a crystal, said to channel the hollow's energy back on itself, burning it out. But the cost is steep. The guardians who perform it might not survive, or they'll be trapped in whatever's left of the hollow that I try to talk her out of it. We sealed it, Clara. The world's safe. Isn't that enough? She shakes her head, her eyes fierce. What about Esther? Jonah? Ruth? We left them. We owe them. I see the guilt in her, the same guilt I feel for not saving them. But I'm tired, my body aching from the years I've lost. I don't know if I can give more. May 15th, 2031, 22:50. The tremors are stronger now, shaking the cabin's windows. Voss's sensors spike every few hours, red lines jagged on the screens. Clara's nightmares are worse. She wakes screaming names I don't know, her hands clawing at the air. I'm dreaming, too, of the pit, its fleshy folds pulsing under my feet. Last night, I saw our parents in the dream, their faces twisted, begging me to let them go. Holt calls a meeting with the other guardians, a grainy video feed linking us across the country. Dr. Morse in Boston looks haggard, her voice thin. The hollow's fighting back. My seal's cracking. Father Ruiz nods, holding the Shard of Dawn, its light casting shadows on his face. Jane Keller in Seattle is quiet, her eyes red from lack of sleep. Isaac Cole in Chicago snaps. We should have burned it out from the start. We do the veil's end, Clara says, her voice steady. We end it for good. I want to argue, but I see the resolve in her eyes. She's not just fighting for us. She's fighting for the souls we left behind. May 20th, 2031, 09:15. Holt delivers the Shard of Dawn, a jagged crystal that hums in my hand, warm and alive. Clara and I study the ritual, its words sharp and guttural, like the Order's chants, but heavier, like speaking through blood. The sensors scream now, the seals hum erratic. Voss says the hollow's resonance is at critical levels. If we don't act soon, the seals could fail, letting it spill into the world that I visit our parents in Bangor, hoping for closure. Abigail recognizes me, her hand trembling as she touches my face. You look so old, Lucas, she says, her voice breaking. Thomas just stares, muttering about the barn fire that never was. I tell them we're trying to end it, to make it right. They don't understand, but Abigail smiles, and it's enough. May 25th, 2031, 03:00. The ritual is set for dawn. Voss stays with us, her equipment ready to monitor the backlash. The other guardians are linked by radio, their voices tense but resolute. Clara and I stand by the slab, the Shard of Dawn glowing between us. The air feels thick, like it's resisting us. We chant, the words burning my throat, the crystal flaring brighter with each syllable. The slab cracks, not breaking but shifting, the symbols pulsing red. The ground shakes, a low roar rising from below. Clara's voice falters, and I grab her hand, steadying her. Voss shouts, it's collapsing. Keep going. The shard burns my palm, but I don't let go. The air twists, pulling at my skin, and I feel the years drain again. Not four, but something deeper, like my life's unraveling. May 25th, 2031, 04:20. The ritual ends with a deafening silence. The slab is still, the symbols dark. The shard is cold, its light gone. Voss's monitors flatline. No resonance, no tremors. The hollow's gone, burned out by the veil's end. The radio crackles. Boston, New Orleans, Chicago, Seattle, all report the same. Empty ground, dead relics. But I'm hollowed out, my body heavy, my breath shallow. Clara looks at me, her face pale but calm. We did it, she says. They're free. I think of Esther, Jonah, Ruth, their faces fading into whatever comes next. I hope it's peace. June 1st, 2031, 12:30. We moved to a new apartment in Willow Creek, a small place by the river. The Historical Society reassigns us to a research team studying the hollow's aftermath. There are reports, strange lights in Seattle, whispers in Chicago. The hollow's gone, but its echoes linger like scars in the earth. Clara throws herself into the work, sketching less, researching more. She wants to teach, to share stories that don't hurt. I'm slower, my body protesting every step. The mirror shows a man I barely recognize, my face etched with decades I didn't live. But when Clara laughs, when she talks about history or drags me to the diner for pancakes, I see my sister, not the hollow's shadow. July 16th, 2031, 18:00. It's been a year since Clara's death, a year since I descended into the hollow. Willow Creek feels lighter, the marsh quieter, like it's finally at rest. I'm writing a book, not about the hollow, that's too dangerous, but about family, about loss, about the things we carry. My hands shake as I type, but every word feels like defiance. Clara's enrolled in a graduate program, studying folklore. She wants to understand what the hollow was, why it called to us. Sometimes I walk past the farm, the oak grove stark against the sky. The slab's still there, just concrete now, no pulse beneath. I think of our parents, frail but alive, of the souls we freed, of the price we paid. Was it worth it? Every moment,